You're just passing on the little kernels of wisdom you've learned.
At some point, you should also speak while you're acting.
Well, there is that too. There is that. Yes. Are we ready?
Let's speak. Let's speak. Let's speak.
All right. The video is rolling. Audio in. Three. Speaking of pretentious. 3, 2, 1. You're live.
What a buildup, Dr. D.
A buildup?
A buildup. Welcome to the Jeremiah Show. What a buildup. You just led us down this path. You just built it up. The anticipation. I'm so excited
it was the yellow brick road.
Yeah, you took us down that brick road, that yellow brick road, and here we are at the Jeremiah Show.
Yeah. My brick road has potholes.
It's radio with TV's Tim Stack.
Woo-hoo. Welcome, Tim.
I have been waiting.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this moment like I've been waiting for Christmas morning.
Really?
Yeah. I've been waiting so long to have Tim Stack back in the studio here.
How do you feel about that representation or symbolism?
I feel bad for such a deprived childhood you must
totally,
have had. If I'm the Christmas gift you've waited for your whole life, what horrible upbringing
That's
did
so
you
sad.
have?
That's so sad.
I don't know if I had a deprived childhood. I'm just plain deprived.
You're like that movie Nell, where the girl was left out in the woods.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. That was Jodie.
Jodie Foster. Tim Stack will come for Christmas.
and here it is, Dr. D. I have the calendar. I mark off the days. I mark off the months. I started marking off the years. But
now it's like you're in prison.
Where's the warden when you need him?
I probably soon will be.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me tell you who we're talking about. Who I'm so excited about.
The voice might be familiar, folks.
The voice may be familiar. Right. The acting, the writing, the producing. The body of work by this gentleman, our very special guest sitting next to me to my right today, is an actor. He's a writer. He's known for Son of the Beach. My Name is Earl. Seinfeld, one of my favorite episodes in Seinfeld, when George gets ladies' glasses. We're going to play that.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. I was telling, I don't want to say his name yet, but I was telling my guest, I just watched that. It just came on like in my rotation.
Oh, wow. Very
serendipitously. Is that the right way to put that? Yeah, you like that big word?
You learn a lot of words as a child.
That's right.
I had nothing but books to read.
That's the deprivation, right?
Curb Your Enthusiasm, one of my favorite shows of all time.
I have to say, I can't watch that show unless I'm in literally physically with a small TV set or my phone in the closet. It is, I don't know why it's so embarrassing for me with what's going on.
Watching the show,
but it's like, oh, come on. You cannot believe you're doing that. I can't believe you just said that kind of stuff. It's like, oh.
Yeah, my sister says it causes too much anxiety.
Yeah.
She can't watch it. Let me go on with this list because this list is long. And
we're going to need an intermission.
We are
this list.
In just a minute, you get the popcorn in your soda.
You got it.
Back to School, Punky, Brewster, Parker Lewis Can't Lose. These are some shows from my childhood out in the woods. Other very popular sitcoms that my special guest today and our new host at the Jeremiah Show with his own series. These shows include Benson, Laverne Shirley. Heard of that one, Dr. D?
I have indeed.
You quote that one quite a bit.
Schlemazel, Hassenpfeffer Incorporated. I have no idea what that means.
Remember Night Court?
Oh, God, yes.
The Wonder Years, Wings, which was my dad's favorite show.
Oh, I love that show.
Malcolm in the Middle, Golden Girls.
Yep.
Oh, my God. We are not worthy, Dr. D, to sit next to this gentleman.
Well, I don't know.
So let me just introduce you now to Timothy Stack. Again, he's a writer, an actor, a producer. He is here to basically debut and launch and tell us all about his new radio show. He's going to come under the Jeremiah Show umbrella for a little while, and he's launching a new series. It's called It's Radio, with TV's Tim Stack.
Oh my God, they're rioting in the streets. I
They
can hear them.
They're racing down to the studio.
I'm
There,
very-
his fans are banging on the door, Dr. D.
I
Are you
just-
picking that up on the
I am. Well, we've got a nice, that's booming.
booming?
So is this solid state or is this tubes in the radio? I
This
mean, which is this?
You're asking a technical question.
Yeah, I don't.
I
know
don't.
what you-
I
even know
don't
what you're asking.
understand that.
Are we using
I'm
I'm from
audio
the woods,
tape?
remember?
It's in the
I'm very
Wow.
excited about this, and thank you, Jeremiah. Jeremiah has asked me to give radio a try. I had done it a little bit before with Howard Stern.
Yeah, just a guy named Howard
some guy,
Stern.
Yeah.
And but I really enjoyed it, and part of it is in my roots, which we've talked about. My mom had a radio show growing
This is
up.
interesting, really
Yeah,
interesting.
I grew up in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, kind of a suburb of Philadelphia, and my mom had a radio show that started out as 5 minutes a day. It was just it was called Thoughts for Food with Joan Stack,
I like that.
and
little
her
twist.
Yeah.
sign off was "Have a delicious day," which is on her gravestone.
Oh,
That
Sweet.
says, yeah, it's great. So, but then the show evolved. She actually found out she was pretty good at it. She knew a lot about food, and then she found out she was pretty good at radio. And here's the interesting thing about her show: it took place in a restaurant I had worked at before I got fired. That's a whole other story. I worked there as a busboy.
you can relate to the firing of people.
Yeah, and being fired. as
And
well.
being fired.
Best
Oh,
lesson
I've been
I
on
ever
both sides.
learned: getting fired as a busboy at this restaurant.
Yeah. Why was it the best? Not to throw you off track from your story about your mom, but why was that the best thing?
It suddenly woke me up and I think I was 17 when I got fired. And about a year later, my mom got the radio show there. But it just taught me that, this is not school. This is not like, you can't do your fraternity hijinks or whatever it
Yeah.
is. This is my living. I support my family at this place. And it dawned on me like, oh, I need to take work seriously. And so it never happened to me again. I've never been fired from a job since. I've gotten close, like some acting, writing jobs that were like, we want to get rid of this guy. You can sort of feel that, but I always treated work with the utmost respect since then, since that moment. So, yeah.
When I was a busboy, I loved being a busboy. Did you like it actually?
I didn't mind it. I was
I mean,
actually
it's hard
surprised when I
work,
got
right?
fired.
It's dirty and it's sweaty and it's,
Yeah.
Dirty bus.
Yes,
jobs and
that's
dishes
exactly
and all
right.
that.
Dirty and sweaty, and yeah.
But I loved it personally. I never wanted to be anything more than a busboy at a restaurant. I never wanted to be a
You can go
server.
back to that career.
I could, huh? I think there's a few openings right now.
Well, we all three of us share that because I was a busboy, I think at the age of 17, 18.
We could open our own restaurant.
We
the three of
could.
us.
We absolutely could. The thing that frustrated me most was when I had to go get my health card. This was back when you had to have one. And so I went for the training because it was required by the restaurant as well as the state. I come back with all of the rules in my head. Nobody's following the rules. They're smoking in the cooking area. And I'm going,
knocking their ashes.
what was the point of me going to get this health card? Because,
Well, you learned a lot about health. Everything's a learning experience. But
It
so,
is.
Tim, did you work at the restaurant that your mom?
We never worked there at the same time.
Okay, so it was after.
So
the same restaurant.
her job started about a year. She was doing the 5-minute radio show while I was still a busboy. And then what happened was the owner of the restaurant, who was a big deal in that area, along with the writer James Michener,
Mhm.
and
Oh,
remember
wow.
the Monday Night Football Don Meredith?
Mhm.
oh yeah.
He lived in our area, and they bought this local radio station.
Dandy Don.
So then my mom went to Walter Conti, the owner of and said, because she had grown up with, there were radio people in New York like Arlene Francis, who used to be on What's My Line, and they would do shows from their apartment or a
Mhm.
restaurant. And she said, Walter, can I do the show from the restaurant? He said, it's free advertising.
Yeah.
So a guest would come to the show, do it, and then they would have lunch. And it was a good restaurant. Conti's was like the restaurant in the area. And I'm still very good friends with Joe Conti, his son. And anyway,
That fired you.
yes, his father fired me. And I always say to Joe, best lesson I ever
lesson I
learned.
learned.
Oh my God, a day doesn't go by when I don't thank Walter Conti. So
Because you might still be there.
I might still be there.
I know restaurant people like that.
More water on table 23. Tim.
Get some more bread over here.
That's like that. Bread, water, and clear the dishes. But the fun thing about my mom was in a small community, she became like a big deal. There was only one radio station.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing was the area where we grew up, it was Bucks County, which was kind of an artsy fartsy world. So like Bucks County Playhouse was there and McCarter Playhouse in Philadelphia or in Princeton. And so if there were big actors coming into town, she would get them on her radio show, which was a big deal then. But the funny thing,
and everybody could watch, right? And kind of listen in as an
they would
audience.
listen
I mean,
in.
they
Yes.
could see-
Yeah.
they
Yes.
could-
And people in the
they
restaurant.
could kind of
Yes.
see her doing her
Yes,
thing.
exactly.
with
And
the
that was
actors.
sort of like a cool thing. It was very cool
Yeah.
at the time, very new and hip. And so, but the funny thing I loved about her show was like one day she might have an actor on, like Eli Wallach was doing a play at McCarter Playhouse. And so this big movie star would come on the show, Eli Wallach. And then the next day she would have like because it was local radio, she'd have the fire chief at the fire department who's talking about the pancake breakfast on Saturday, to raise
Right,
money for the
right.
fire company. But she always treated them the same. And I used to do her as a character at the Groundlings because she said every word as if it was a novel unto itself. And she would add syllables into words that weren't there, like self. There are two, who knew there were two syllables in the word self, self. Or for some reason, she said to me once, she said, I'm going to Georgia. Are you going to Atlanta? No, Mom, you've added too many in there. It's Atlanta.
Now, why did she do that on purpose?
I
That
think it was
her
an
own
effect.
way
It was
of
like her.
speaking?
Yes,
Her
it was
own-
her, because she grew up in a time when actresses talked like that,
Yeah.
and that's how you were. So I think she grew up sort of absorbing that, and she applied it to radio, and it worked.
Well, you've been in Hollywood and in this business for over.
I moved out in '79. I moved to LA. I left New York.
And were you a study of film and acting?
That's
and
all I
your life
did was watch movies. And
well, maybe
Yeah.
you could answer a question for me
Yes.
because you're talking about this with your mom, how she pronounced words and was articulate, and then actually had her own style, her own way of speaking, like some of the best radio people or broadcasters do, right? I think of Walter Cronkite, and I don't know, the list goes on. But the you mentioned that actors in her age, when they grew up in the black and whites and the film, the first films and 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, even 60s, maybe the actors had that way of speaking that you don't hear anymore in film.
no,
And
it's
I always
almost
wondered, was it-
British.
Yeah, was that more of a theater? Do you know where that came from? And
I
why
don't.
that
I just.
style was
I do
so-
know that they were all sent to like a good-looking woman who had some acting talent. They would send her to elocution lessons,
Hmm.
so they learned to talk like this. Hello, everyone. It's like
yeah.
And John Lovitz, who's an old friend who I hope to have on my show. He's sort of the master of that old school of Hollywood, and they talk quickly, like, what are you here for? What do you care? Why do you want me? So,
Yeah.
And-
I was just thinking of the Seinfeld, John Lovitz, when the girl was in the back that reads the book. Do you remember that in the
No.
cafe? And he's like, oh, look at her. Mrs. won't talk to anybody. Anyway,
yeah,
sorry.
sometimes I watch Turner Classic Movies a lot, and some actor will come on, and I'll stop it and rewind, and I'll videotape it on my phone, and I'll send it to Lovitz because we just love that stuff. Those kinds of actors and weird supporting actors in
So it
those
was
kinds
a
of movies.
it was something that they had to learn. And
I
that
think-
was part of
I think she
the
just grew
acting.
up like that's how people talked in radio, and Arlene Francis certainly talked like that, and that was sort of her. That's who she tried to emulate, was Arlene Francis, who had a big career in radio and then on TV and a little bit as an actress, but more in radio and television. What's My Line? And
So you would watch your mom. do
I had
these
been on her
great
show.
shows.
Then when I got my career sort of started, I was on the show. I didn't have much of a career when I did her show, but it was my mom, so she put me on. Yeah, that was kind of fun. And also,
what was did you have a shtick, or did you have
no, it was
something that you
more
would
just
report
like,
on, or-
my son has moved to Hollywood and he's home for Christmas. And what's it like, talking
Yeah.
about that. And at the time, I was a waiter at the Ginger Man restaurant in Beverly Hills, which was owned by Carol O'Connor. And All in the
Oh.
Family, when he was, when All in the Family was huge.
That's when he had the restaurant.
When he had the
didn't know
restaurants.
that.
Yeah. So I think a lot of our show, I talked about who I waited on. Like all the celebrities.
Yeah.
I
That
waited on Mary Tyler Moore. Oh, what's she like? She was okay.
That was the tip. Yeah. Who was can you say who tipped you the best out of your serving career?
Yeah. Somebody
Who
gave
leaves
me,
the best tips?
who was it that gave me $100 and said, keep it? I'll think of it. Somebody, which was a lot of money, especially at the time. Johnny Carson, I waited on a lot. And I don't do a good Johnny Carson impression, but I'll try it anyway. He would always ask me one question. He would say, tell me about the chicken. And I always felt like I'm on the show. Like it's Johnny interviewing me. Tell me about the chicken.
So in your mind, you're being
Yes,
interviewed.
that's how I'm going.
You got the music going and the curtain.
It's so funny, Johnny, about the chicken. They really do a nice job tonight, Johnny. Let me tell you about it.
Oh, that's so funny.
So yeah, I think in the early times on my mom's show, I talked about people I had waited on.
I got one $100 tip once. I mean, I remember you remember something like
Yes.
that, right? I got I probably got other $100 tips, but I remember this one because it was from Dr. Dre, and he left his pager on my table, and I had the pager, and I'm like, oh man, the numbers in this thing, I didn't look at it. And he comes back and he says, oh, you've got it. Thank you so much. He gave me 100 at the table and 100 when he brought the pager
Nice.
back. So I
That's
got
how you
200.
roll.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Nice guy. You remember
cool.
stuff like that.
Oh, yeah,
Guys that are nice. So you also had a radio career for a short time via Howard Stern, right? How did that happen? He offered you
It happened. Well, I had done
your own show, right?
Yeah,
Or-
Howard
or-
and I had a long relationship. Not long. I mean, 6, 8 years, 10 years working together.
Was this
Post
so?
Son
This
of
was
the Beach.
okay. So this is
Yeah,
after
so
that.
we did Son of the Beach, and then I wrote a movie for him. He somehow got the rights to Rock and Roll High School. Remember the movie with the Ramones?
Yep.
He was going to produce that, and I was brought in as the first writer. I think they're still writing this thing. I don't know. And I wrote a draft and got paid. Nothing happened with that, but we kept talking about doing stuff. And his agent, Don Buchwald, was my agent. So I always sort of stayed in that world. And then when he moved to Sirius Radio, he hired a guy named Tim Sabian, who's a great guy. And he was in radio for years. And he and I were talking. I'd given Howard an idea for an animated show. So we were sort of talking about that. And then Tim said, why don't you try to do Nightstand again? I said, well, I don't know. We tried it. And Nightstand was this fake talk show I did in the 90s that ran on E! Channel and syndication. And I said, I don't know. He goes, well, why don't you do it on the radio? Like bring on fake guests. And
I love that.
I do too.
yeah, it was
You'll
it
have
was
to do that maybe on one of these shows.
Okay.
If you
no,
if
it
you
was
want
good. It was fun. I don't know. It just didn't. Howard didn't like it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's his world. He can do whatever he wants. I don't think he dug it.
What I
So-
find fascinating is you were proposing an animated show. How would that be more animated than the shows he already does on radio?
That particular show I was pitching was, I had written a movie with a guy a long time ago, which was a spoof of those World War II movies. And we had it, Dom DeLuise was going to do it at one point, and we had it out there, and it just went away for whatever reason. And I always thought if we took that model, and because Howard always talks about his time in Vietnam,
Mhm.
which was, he's making it all up.
Yeah.
But I always thought it would be funny. In the movie, there was a kid, like in every war movie, there's always a kid. The kid is the kid. Well, in our movie, the kid was really a kid. He's like 12 and he's in World War II. So I always thought if we took the young Howard Stern character and made him the kid and sort of took all the characters from the movie and we made, it was going to be called Howard Stern's Vietnam, but it was just a crazy animated show with a kid, with young Howard in Vietnam.
I love it. I love it. Okay, Tim Stack. He's a writer and actor, producer. He's our special guest today. He's got a new show under this umbrella. He's got his own radio show now here at our station. Here's the title, Dr. D. I love it.
I'm waiting.
It's Radio with TV's Tim Stack.
I like it. I'm
gonna keep working on that.
Semi-catchy. I think you got it.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I mean, here's the idea. We're going to talk about what Tim, the wonderful mind of Tim Stack, and what he will, be bringing to you, the listener of the show here. But here is one, I really pursued Tim recently, and I don't know how I wooed him over and he agreed to do this. I don't know what I did. I don't even.
Were any drugs involved?
Did I bring you a bag of money? I can't remember.
I think you bought me a beer.
That's all it took.
Well, I believe it was Schlitz, was it?
Yeah, it was a can of Schlitz.
Can of Schlitz.
He threw it in my car, and I said, "Yeah, I'll do that."
It was cold though.
Cold,
but it was
It
open.
wasn't warm.
But it was open.
But I just feel like this laughing that we're doing here today with Tim. I mean,
has got to stop.
It has to start again. I just miss comedy so much.
Oh, me too.
I miss it in TV programming and film. And
do you know what I go to bed to at night with? I put my
I don't know if I
earbud.
want to know.
No. I put my earbud in. I put my phone. I go to YouTube and I listen to the long form comedy routines of the comedians on, I think it's called Dry Board or something like that. And I just lay there and I listen, and I have to keep from laughing out loud because some of the stuff is hilarious. And it isn't mean humor. It's not blue humor.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
We just
And
need to
I
laugh.
love that.
So
yeah.
Tim's going to bring that.
Cool.
Timothy Stack.
I'll be listening to you now when I go to sleep.
You better.
Yeah. He comes up repeatedly in my Seinfeld. That's what I do.
Rotation, yeah.
I watch Seinfeld or I watch Curb. And so Tim just keeps speaking to me, and I just kept saying, if I'm going to spend this much time with Tim Stack, let's just get him on the radio.
Yeah, exactly.
So again, the new series, it's Radio with TV's Tim Stack. We will be right back. Let me actually give out a couple promos. On Amazon Freevee, set your calendar, write this down, a new premiere date for Tim's new comedy series, Sprung. It's created by Emmy Award-winning writer Greg Garcia and producer and writer Timothy Stack. So Greg Garcia, you may remember, developed My Name is Earl and Raising Hope. Sprung stars Garret Dillahunt. Am I saying that?
He's great.
Yeah. You may remember him from Fear, The Walking Dead, or the Mindy Project.
Oh, yeah.
Deadwood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Played two characters on Deadwood.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Deadwood. Crazy movie.
Yeah.
Crazy show.
Emmy Award-winning Martha Plimpton, Generation, Younger, two of the shows.
Yeah. Big Santa Barbara connection there.
Yeah. And she
Heritage.
plays Barb. And Phillip Garcia from Scandal.
No relation
No.
to
No,
Greg.
no, to Greg. I was wondering.
Some other Garcia, but not Greg.
He plays Rooster, and Shakira Barrera from Glow as Gloria. James Earl from Night School as
That
Melvin.
guy is funny.
Yeah, he is. And introducing Clare Gillies as Wiggles.
I'm telling you,
Where'd you come up with the name Wiggles?
Greg came up with that. She's not a strip. She's a bikini dancer, which she points out is a big difference
From
between.
the stripper?
Yeah.
Bikini.
But this young woman, Claire, is really something special. I think people are really going to take notice. She has this beautiful sort of Euro model look, but she plays this nitwit really, really well.
Yeah.
And
That sounds
she
fun.
she
Oh,
has this
man.
voice where you think it's a fake voice, and you say, "Okay, Claire, nice to meet you." You can talk now, and sounds like, "What do you mean?" That's the
That's her
voice. Yeah, but she's phenomenal at playing dumb,
Mm.
which is a wonderful thing. Always works in comedy.
I've been working on that my whole life.
That's how I get through every day here at the radio station.
All right. So the first 2 episodes, Dr. D, will debut exclusively on Freevee. I didn't know about Freevee, but
I
it's
didn't either.
Amazon.
Freevee is owned by Amazon. It's their version of Hulu with commercials.
Mhm.
But you can get Freevee. You can get it through Roku and all that. But you can also go in through Amazon, and
If
you
you're
can,
Prime,
if you already have Amazon Prime,
Okay.
you can,
Interesting.
yes, you can
got
just get Freevee there.
Well, very cool. So that's August 19th. That's the date I want you to mark down. The first 2 episodes are debuting. Again, exclusively on Freevee. So sign up and get on that ahead of time. And then that will be followed by new episodes each week and a 1-hour season finale on September 16th. We're going to talk about Sprung with producer and writer Timothy Stack, our special guest today. When we come back, you can check out Tim on Twitter at TV's Tim Stack. We'll be right back.
Okay. Number 2 in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. You like how
That was
did I scare
quick.
you?
It's- See, we like to get so what we do is we take a 2-minute commercial break. I compress it down into 3 seconds,
Yeah.
and the advertisers cannot complain because if you look at and you hear some of you hear the mortgage people and they got to give those numbers at the end.
Yeah.
Number 6. That's like what?
Yeah.
So we figure, hey, we can get away with it.
Yeah. It's like the drug notification.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And Dr. D just likes to make me sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks.
I do. He sounds so good.
He does that every once in a while, and I have to listen
He
to
sounds
every show
more
to
like
make sure I
Theodore
didn't
than
get-
Alvin.
Yeah, I liked Theodore.
Theodore.
I'll take Theodore.
Yes, indeed.
We're
Tim
talking
Stack.
with Timothy Stack.
Yeah.
He's a writer.
Yeah.
Fantastic comedy writer and just a writer in general. He can write anything. He did not
How about
write
the
this. He did
Declaration
not
of
write this
Independence?
intro.
Did you
so-
write-
I was not part of that group.
Okay. All right. Just checking.
I would have rewritten them.
Tim-
And something. There are some things in there that
yeah.
I take umbrage with.
Well, you can do a show about it.
I know politics. I don't want to.
I'm
I
giving
shouldn't
you all
have
the-
gone there.
Yeah, I don't either.
I just want to have
Politics
fun in
and
life.
religion,
There's no
let's
win
stay
there.
away from.
What version of your name gets your attention as though you did something wrong, like kids growing up? For me, it would be Richard Les Dugan. Is it Timothy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If somebody called me Timothy, yes. If my dad called me Timothy, I was in trouble.
Now, Timothy's your professional name. It's your name.
Yes.
I actually like, but you go by Tim Stack when you're in
Everybody calls me
conversation,
Tim.
yeah.
Yes.
But I actually like that you call it out Timothy Stack. I like
Yeah.
I like Timothy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And most people when they're named Timothy shorten it right away to Tim, or people take
Yeah.
liberties and shorten it to Tim.
There's more seriousness
But I
there.
love
It's
the
just
name Timothy. It's a
authoritative.
great name.
It's
I was going to go with, you have to choose your name when you join the acting union.
Uh-huh.
And so shocking, they were all available under Tim Stack. Yeah, take
How
it,
did that
smell it
happen?
any way you want. Nobody wants that name. So I was going to go with Timmy to make it like fun. And then I wasn't crazy about it. And then Timothy is always like the formal, more of an actor.
Mhm.
And I thought maybe a serious part
If I
will
ever
come
become
along.
formal.
If I ever become formal, I finally did my 40 years in the business. I finally did my first straight role in this show, The Old Man, on FX now.
wow, you're in that.
Yes, I'm in
that's
that. I was in
great.
last
I
night.
just watched the first episode.
I'm in episode 105,
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah.
We've been
Wait,
watching that.
105, which would be 5.
which would be 5.
Yeah,
Sorry,
okay.
that I got a little showbiz on that one.
I
One
love
thing
that
to one
show.
out.
I
Well,
love
that's
Jeff.
interesting. I
Oh.
never. Go ahead.
I gave the story why I'm in it is that I had given that Jeff Bridges that book like 5 years ago. And I said, you got to read this book. You got to do this movie.
Uh-huh.
This thing is it because I'm a big fan of the film 3 Days with the Condor that
Yeah.
Redford did. And I just said, this is a great book. And he was so busy at the time doing something, True Grit or something. He was just too busy, and he gets very dialed in on what he's doing, which is one of the reasons why he's so good. And then somebody else optioned the book and brought it back to him as a mini series. And Jeff read the book. He's like, I know this book, and I know this. Where did this come from? And then Susan, his wife, reminded him. It's like Tim. He was like, oh. So then he insisted I do a part, and I don't think I would have cast me in the part I play, but I did it anyway. And it was really fun to act
Oh,
again.
Looking forward to that.
But it's
yeah.
funny for me too, because it's such a straight part. But I was nervous doing a straight part. It's like 40 years in the business and I'm finally doing a straight part.
I'm going to have to go back
You
and
got all
watch
four of them,
5.
huh?
I
Yeah.
got it was like as deadpan
You were
as I could
Timothy.
be. I was very Timothy.
You're
Yeah.
very Timothy.
Yeah.
By the way,
I was Sir Timothy in that.
Timmy, yeah, it makes, when you say that, it makes me think of South Park. Timmy,
Yeah.
Timmy.
Or before that, Lassie.
Or Lassie.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Howard Stern, if you don't mind.
Sure.
But we don't. I'm a huge fan, like so many people are, and I think I fell in love with the radio. And this is just such a common phrase, but I did really fall in love
Mhm.
with radio through listening to Howard Stern. I was telling you yesterday, Tim, on my drive to USC downtown every day from Santa Monica, 11 miles, but it would take 3 hours
Sure.
twice a day.
That's you got time to listen.
Yeah, I had time to listen
This
to Howard
is
Stern.
before podcasts.
Yeah.
And then he got that big deal, which is right around when you were, I think, involved with him.
The Sirius came afterwards.
They came
He was
after?
still on terrestrial when we did Son of the Beach and all
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, my timelines aren't perfect on that, but obviously, but then I even subscribed to Sirius because he was off radio.
Yeah.
I missed him. So if you wouldn't mind, I would just love to hear about who he is and your experience with him. And
Sure.
I don't think he's talked about a lot from people that know him. And
Well, interesting about
Yeah,
Howard,
sure.
basically what you hear is what you get. And I got along great with him. Part of it is because I was such a fan of him listening. I drive from Santa Barbara to LA, so I'm the same thing. I'm listening.
yeah,
And at the time, it helped my drive so much because I had something to focus on other than the horrible traffic.
and before you know it, you're there.
And so, but I'll go back to the first time I met him, which was in the late 80s. And I had written and produced a game show that we did a presentation of the Groundlings called Get the Picture. And the host was Fee Waybill from the Tubes, if you guys remember the Tubes. And it didn't get bought, but it got a lot of buzz. Like, this is a really funny show. And Remote Control doesn't give a Christmas card. He hands it to Howard instead of mailing it. It's enough to set Howard off. And it just it's the sitcom element. I love that aspect of the show. I also love his interviews. So if I'm going to emulate anything, it'll be the interview side, because I don't have 17 people working for me. And, but that's part of what his genius was, to hire these people, because he knows that they supply entertainment, that they might be perceived as idiots, but they also create story-driven conflict. So,
Okay. Well, I can't wait to hear your interviews. We're going to talk about your show come up here in a moment. The great Timothy Stack, the formal Timothy Stack, is with us. The funny writer, actor, and producer, Tim Stack, is also here. We've got two of them. They're multiplying. It's radio with TV's Tim Stack. That's the new
thing, and I'm jumping in, and Larry starts laughing, like, and literally says, "Oh man, that sounds funny." Well, you did it, buddy.
Yeah, that sounds funny.
So with the Seinfeld, I was thrilled to get it then, because the show was huge at that time.
Yeah.
When I did it, which was really fun. I've only done a few times where I've gone on shows.
Rolling Stone, and it was everywhere you went.
Yes. I mean, like I had done a Night Court and a Golden Girls. Golden Girls was pretty big, but there was something about Seinfeld that was it was huge.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because it was new and different, Golden Girls was just incredibly good.
Yeah.
But it was also new
Seinfeld
and
almost
different.
almost didn't make it, right?
That's a whole story unto itself.
Right.
Yeah. Well, my other friend named Jeremiah Bosgang, who was the guy who bought Son of the Beach, he was the second in charge at NBC.
And maybe type her a message, if you don't mind, for me, that says we're just wrapping up the first hour.
Sure. Yeah,
We'll be right with her.
absolutely. And
And
Hunter
she
is
can
in.
just-
And Hunter is in. You'll need your headphones for this. You will need your
Oh,
headphones.
okay.
We're not going to talk to Hunter yet, though. Hi, Hunter.
Hi.
I can't hear her.
She just said hi.
Hi, Hunter. we're going to talk about
He's still
Tim's
getting his
new show
headphones,
because we're running too late. Sorry, Tim.
I understand too that part of your This Is Radio, you'll also be putting pictures of people on milk cartons.
Okay,
Not
no extra.
necessarily
Let's just get right to this.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. We are with Timothy Stack, writer, actor, producer. He's also introducing a new series here on the Jeremiah Show we're looking forward to. He's taken over the show with his own show. It's called It's Radio with TV's Tim Stack. Tim.
Nope.
Tim, tell us about what we can expect from your new series here on the show.
I don't have a complete answer for you, but my instincts are telling me. I think what I want to do is bring on people who I think are funny and entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't necessarily be, it's not joke time, but I want to hear funny stories. And there are so many funny stories that I have over 40 years that I can share with these people, as well as their funny stories. I'm always interested in origins, how people get started in a certain business, what inspired them to get in it with show business and especially comedy. Like, what was it? There are usually moments in people's lives where they say, like, they get a laugh and suddenly it's like, oh, I feel so good. The endorphins go up or whatever. So that's a big thing. And then talk about, their careers and what they're doing now and what they want to do and why they did certain things. And,
those are my favorite stories.
Yeah. I mean, I'll bring on Greg Garcia, who's my friend, also my boss, but to talk about the inspiration for Sprung and My Name is Earl. And he's got fantastic stories about him knocking on doors and telling people to read his scripts and somehow it worked.
Yeah. And so you're going to tease a little bit. That's Greg Garcia. Hopefully you'll have on.
Yeah.
You want to tease with any other?
Sure. I want to have my friend Barry Finero on. Barry, he and I met in the Groundlings 40 years ago, and he went on to have an incredible career writing. He won Emmys for Golden Girls. He wrote the movie Kingpin, Men in Black. He just had what's the Billy Crystal movie on blankets? Different stories. So that's an example of something I'd like to talk about.
Oh, exciting. I can't wait to hear it. We'll have to talk off air and pin you down on a date for your first show.
Yes.
And I'll definitely let everybody know. Hunter Hawkins talking about young directors where they're making it, where they're working the streets, working all their magic, raising money right now for your film. Award-winning filmmaker Hunter Hawkins. Introduce you to Timothy Stack here.
Hi, Hunter.
Hi.
Hunter, you're going to give us a real quick update on, and we're running out of time, so I'll have to be quick. Sorry. On where the film's at right now and where you're at in your capital raise and what you need and how our listeners can help you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we talked about a week ago, I think a week to the day. And the film was, I believe, it was like a few away from 2,000. And in that time, we've made it up to only $30.
That makes no sense. Go ahead, Hunter.
In that time, we've made it to our base goal, or $30 away from base goal of 4,000, and our real goal is 5,000. And so we still have 2 weeks to the day to make up that last 1,000. But in that time, in the last week, we've made so much, and I'm really blown away. I haven't led a fundraiser like this of this amount before, and so I'm just really excited. We're getting together with costumes, moving forward with all kinds of different production details now that we actually have like close enough to what we need to make it happen.
Give us the name of the film one more time. Give us the log line.
It's called Bowler Up.
It's
Bowler Up. I'm forgetting the log line right now. But it's basically it's a movie about three misfits, musically minded misfits that are on a bowling team together. And
I've got a free anyway.
Go ahead, Hunter.
It's a short film. No worries. It's a short film about just three friends that are musically minded and have a big imagination and are on a bowling team together, and and it's very whimsical. It's kind of Scott Pilgrim versus the World inspired, and it takes place in an actual bowling alley, and so that's part of why we need that funding. So it's just super exciting. I've never made anything like this before.
What?
Tim could be an extra for $500, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What do I get for $5?
You get bragging rights.
You don't get
That's
to-
what you get.
You have to
You
pay.
contributed.
I kind of like the show here. Okay, well, thank you, Hunter. So direct everybody how they can get you to get you over the last $1,000.
Well,
And
you
make-
just go to our Instagram page, which is at.
All right, go.
You can find us at our Instagram page at Hunter Hawkins Films, and if you look up on Indiegogo, if you look up like on Google, Indiegogo Bowler Up Film Hunter Hawkins, it will be the first thing to come up, and you'll see this cute little logo with like a bowling pin on it, and yeah, so it's not hard to find. If you want to send us right over the edge and give us $1,000, that results in a free home concert delivered to your door with me and a lot of other LA and Santa Barbara local indie music artists.
So Hunter Hawkins, writer, director. She's an award-winning writer and director, and also a fantastic musician. Good luck, Hunter. Back to Tim. We got to say goodbye, but give us Sprung. Tell us about Sprung and where you can watch it. And
You can watch Sprung on Freevee, which is Amazon's new channel with commercials. But if you go to it through Amazon, I find on for the next 10 hours altogether, and then it ends with a 1-hour special, which is a big episode at the end. And the show is, I have to say, it's really fun for me. I love crime. I love crime movies. And so there's a crime in this show that goes over 10 episodes but really fun characters, beautifully shot, very different. It almost looks like a Coen Brothers film, letterbox film. And it's just really great music, great acting. Greg did all the directing.
You're in an episode as well.
I'm in an episode 4, I think, with Kate Walsh.
Is that 104?
From Grey's Anatomy. 104. Hey, you're learning.
I'm learning about Hollywood. Tim Stack, can't wait for the new series here on the radio. Tim, thank you so much for telling us about the show. And again, look for it. I'll let everybody know when the first episode goes up. It's radio with TV's Tim Stack. Thanks so much, Tim. Thanks so much, Hunter. Everybody have a great day. Communicate,
Thanks, Jeremiah.
listen more, and evolve.